Hey everyone, I'm your host, Angela Wilkinson, and welcome to this episode of the Awakened Goddess Show. Today I'm joined by Desiree East, and we're going to talk about how to tap into your creative intuition by using art making as a vehicle to connect to your soul's purpose. Hi, Desiree.
Hi, Angela. Thanks so much for having me today.
So let's just dive right in, and I know you're a creativity coach, so what exactly does that mean?
As a creativity coach, I help people tap into their creative intuition using art making as a vehicle for change in their lives. No matter what medium that you use, just kind of like quieting your mind and listening into what your um, creative intuition is telling you. Like I mentioned before, there's this part where when you do artwork where you get into that creative zone, that quiet zone where your muse appears, and
Mm,
I help people tap into that zone.
cool. And I bet that a lot of people maybe struggle with getting tapped into their creativity because of just how busy our lives are these days. Do you find that?
Absolutely. And it's very interesting how the mind works. So as you know, we have our brain and it's divided into the left brain hemisphere and the right brain hemisphere. And we live in a left brain hemisphere favored world. So in
Mm,
other words, with the left brain, it's very logical, analytical. You have your to-do list and your deadlines and what am I going to cook for dinner tonight and what do I have planned for tomorrow, this week, the month, the year. It's very logical,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and we need that to survive as well. So we need that to survive. But sometimes we don't give our right brain hemisphere a chance to play, and that's where I come in. I help you kind of get into the present moment and use art as a form of creative meditation. So finding
Mm.
that space to get into the present moment. So yeah, that's kind of how I when I step in to help you kind of transition over to the other side. What we do in the studio is we practice. We practice making that first mark on the blank canvas, and we practice the mindset stuff like, okay, am I going to mess up? Your left brain's telling you, what the hell are you doing? You've
Yeah.
never painted before. You're going to mess up. Do you have anything planned? And it's kind of like as if you're going to step onto the street with busy traffic going both ways, and your brain tells you stop.
Mm.
You've never explored this territory before. Why do you want to do it right now? And so when we were in the studio together, we practice making that first mark and crossing over to the other side and being okay with making mistakes and being okay with going with the flow and letting the unknown guide us, if that makes any sense.
Oh,
That's all
definitely.
right. That's all right brain stuff.
Yeah, very cool. So, it sounds like that really helps you tap into your spirituality more. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, how does it help us connect with that part of ourselves more and really grow in our spirituality?
Once you start the art making, you find yourself, you'll notice your mind kind of quiets down. Your mind quiets down. There's a sense of peace
Mm,
and knowing and trust. And that's all right brain stuff. It comes from when you're operating from your right brain hemisphere, you're operating from a place of love based truths versus fear based truths.
mm,
And that's what's so fascinating. And so, um, when you're in that space, you're connecting with your subconscious and unconscious mind, the stuff that we hardly ever get to tap into. And when you allow yourself to practice that, you connect to spirit because spirit is something that's bigger. It's bigger than the tangible stuff that we can touch every day. And so going back to getting in touch with your creative intuition, that's where you kind of have that, you harness that trust and knowing that is sort of unexplained in the day-to-day world,
mm-hmm,
and you kind of just follow that, just kind of you allow yourself and open yourself up to the possibilities,
mm.
the
Yeah,
infinite possibilities.
very cool. Um, I imagine that that really helps you. You said something earlier about bringing you to the moment and really being present. And I know from my own experience that that's when I am able to manifest things into my life. Is that if I am over, trying to figure things out and really busy, that's when I kind of shut down that flow of bringing in like synchronistic events, things that just kind of show up. And so I can see how valuable this is to really help bring you back into your body and be grounded and centered. And so, can you talk more about that?
Absolutely. And just to piggyback off what you said about the synchronicities, you'll notice that once you allow yourself to create the practice of creating more art in your life and using the idea of your life being a blank canvas, you'll notice that through creative meditation, that more synchronicities will happen in your life, more things that just kind of the timing's right, or you bump into someone you haven't seen or heard of from 15 years ago, or something
Yeah.
crazy like that. Or it's incredible how your mind opens up that way. You just kind of on a quantum physics level,
Hmm.
everything's connected, and you're basically opening that part of your brain or your spirituality to that realm. So
Hmm.
your subconscious mind. And as you said, you had mentioned manifesting things. Um, when you manifest things from a place of present moment awareness, you're you're letting your brain, you're letting your brain practice the idea of allowing it to happen. I don't know if that makes any sense, but
Hmm.
uh,
It's kind of like that, being able to tap into the visualization of actually having it. Is that what you're saying?
yes, yes,
Hmm.
exactly.
So I'm curious, how did you even get to becoming a creativity coach? I imagine that there was something in your life that kind of spurred that on.
So, just a little background about myself. I do have an art studio training background.
Mm.
I went to high school, did a bunch of art, and in college, I was an art major. And then halfway through, I switched to ecology because I have this deep connection with Mother Nature. I also wanted to learn about sustainable practices, and so and I had an environmental studies background and then a science illustration background. When my husband and I met, we started after we got married and got settled in. We started a landscape and design business. So right now we both own a small sustainable landscape and design business.
Mm.
So it's eco-friendly and it's very successful. However, in 2008, 2009, when the Great Recession hit, our business took a huge hit because it's directly tied to the housing market.
Mm-hmm, hmm.
And it got bad. It was ugly. We got, basically we had to walk away from our home
Mm. Yeah.
and did the whole foreclosure thing, and it was an ugly mess. Had to move back into my parents' house. We just got it was just a really big mess financially and emotionally and spiritually, and but it was also a blessing in disguise. So even though we were following the Joneses, and that's one thing my grandmother always warned me about. She always said, "Don't follow the Joneses, don't follow the Joneses," but we did anyways because that's what you do, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
just get the house and the two cars and the 2.5 garage or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, but it didn't work out for us, and so we hit rock bottom, and that in turn actually allowed us to ask like really big life questions, like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, what is our true purpose in life? Like, what are we going to do now? We had nothing except for the clothes on our back.
Mm-hmm.
When you hit rock bottom, those big questions come up. And so we decided that we wanted to save up some money, downsize. We had sold nearly half of our possessions, put everything in storage, and we took a sabbatical. So we
Mm-hmm.
saved up for 2 years and ended up in Bali, Indonesia.
Oh, nice.
Yes, it was beautiful. And Brandon and I, that's my husband, we both love surfing and traveling. So it was like the perfect fit. And we spent about 5 to 6 months in Bali. And It was just wonderful. It was a wonderful healing, a time to heal, and a time to really decide what it is that's, are we truly following our path? And that's when I got inspired by the Balinese culture. And everything that they touch is art. The
Yeah.
way their lives, everything that they do revolves around their gods and goddesses, and everything that they create is artistic. The artwork, the offerings that they make on a daily basis,
Hmm.
all day, 24/7. They make these beautiful offerings, and their temples are just gorgeous, and everything down to their clothes and the artwork that they do that has so much meaning to it really inspired me. And that's when I started doing research. I said, I got to get back into art because, just to back up a little bit, when we were going through the foreclosure, I had started an art, travel, and photo blog for fun.
Oh,
I had,
cool.
yeah, I had no intention of starting an online business or anything. I just said, you know what? I'm a little bit depressed.
Hmm.
So I need to get back into art making because that's the only thing that I could connect to spiritually and emotionally that would make sense. And I said, hell, I'm going to take this thing and run. So that's kind of how it landed on my lap. And
Wow.
I found the creativity coaching and got certified for that. And since then, I haven't looked back, and I love it.
Hmm.
So it's just comes to me so naturally.
Hmm. Well, gosh, and to think of the journey that you went through to get there, that's amazing. And thank you for being so authentic and sharing that, because, that is a struggle that I think a lot of people go through at, different levels, and thinking that we have to be or look a certain way, and we try to fill these roles. And so, um, the beauty of this experience, as uncomfortable and painful and icky as it was, brought you into a whole new place where you're able to connect into more of that spiritual place, and getting into what was really important for you and your husband. So, like you said, it was a blessing in disguise. So,
It was right when you said that. It reminds me of the yin and the yang. You need the dark and the light to make your life whole. And I think that if that did not happen to us, if we didn't hit rock bottom, I'd probably be in the same place I was however many years ago that was, 5 years ago.
hmm,
And yeah, it's just the yin and the yang and make the duality and just making it a whole.
yeah. When I think of, we all have our struggles, whatever they may be. I believe that everything happens for a reason. And it's like the universe is helping guide us to the place that we're soulfully supposed to be.
There's moments in our lives where we do have to do a little bit of soul searching,
Mm-hmm.
which is fine, but it happens. We all go through cycles, and just like nature, it's not always happy, 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 happy. Sometimes there's moments where you're like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
And that goes back to tapping into your intuition. And for me, I'm using creativity and helping people use creativity as a source, because that is source. Creation is, the root of creating anything in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And like when you get in that creative zone, it's magic.
Mm-hmm.
And if I could spread that love of creating art for the sake of making art, not necessarily to put on the wall in a gallery or anything like that, but just for your own soul, so that your soul has a voice of expression.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Uh, it's like, I don't know how to explain it. It's hard to say it in words, but it just feels so good.
So I'm curious, what is something that you do in your personal life every day that is a part of your spiritual practice that you really find to be helpful for you?
Well, this has nothing to do with art really, but maybe it does.
That's
Yeah,
okay.
I think it does. I think it does. It really influences my life. But I love to surf.
Oh.
I was born in Hawaii and born a water baby, and my uncle taught me how to surf since I was a little baby girl. And to this day, I cannot live anywhere away from. I need to be near the ocean, and I need to get my dunk my head in the salt water. So for me, surfing is one thing that connects me to Mother Earth
Mm-hmm.
and Mother Nature. That's a very deep spiritual practice for me. And also dancing. Dancing is another form of exercise and connecting to my soul and that sense of freedom that I had just mentioned earlier. And artwork. So anytime I have a chance to paint or sketch in my sketchbook or do any sort of creative meditation, um, I'll do that. So first, it depends on the weather if it's
Yeah.
good, and then I gotta check my schedule to see if I have room for dance classes,
Yeah.
and then the art making.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're very non-conventional um, ways of connecting to spirit, or maybe not. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So but those
Yeah.
three things are my go-tos.
Cool. Yeah, nature is really grounding for me as
Yeah.
well. So I wanted to talk about the fear of making a mistake. They want to make it perfect. And I think that really, because I even hear this with my own coaching clients when I ask them to journal, there's that fear of making that mistake. And so, can you talk more about getting past that little hurdle and giving yourself permission just to do whatever?
Yes, I love this question. Um, when I'm coaching my clients, when we have our blank canvas in front of us, this is where we allow ourselves to make mistakes. So the type of painting and creative meditation that I do is very free form in the sense that there is no plan. I mean, I might show them some examples of paintings that I've done before, but when we make that first mark, there's no plan, there's no sketch to follow, there's nothing to follow, and we play with color very freely. And so the idea is to give yourself that 5 to 10 minute or however long you need time to transfer from the left brain to the right brain. So
Mm,
scientifically, you're giving yourself time to get over those fears, which are all left brain based.
mm-hmm.
And so another exercise that we do before we even start painting are doodling exercises. So anybody can doodle. There's no right or wrong way to doodle. You just draw shapes, lines, flowers, airplanes, birds, whatever comes to mind. There's no wrong or right way, and no one's looking at your doodle. If you want to share it, you can share your doodle to
Doodle
the world if you
away.
want. Yeah, just doodle away. And so again, you give yourself 5 to 10 minutes or more, maybe half hour to just doodle, and then you hop over to the right brain hemisphere where the love-based truths reside, present
Mm,
moment awareness resides, non-judgment. The non-judgment side resides, and once you get into that zone, just making your decisions based on intuition could be the best way to serve yourself
mm,
and not worrying whether it's right or wrong, not worrying what other people think, not even worrying about what you think. Just really listening to that inner voice and practicing that. I think that practicing quieting your mind and really listening to your inner voice, your intuition, is a great practice that we can all, improve on a daily basis,
definitely.
especially nowadays with everyone being online and everyone being on the internet, and there's Facebook and Instagram. There's that part where you share a part of your life and you want it to be perfect. You take a selfie, like, oh, is my is my hair messy,
Yeah.
and it's good to step away from that every once in a while. Like I said, just quiet your mind and not worry about what everyone else is thinking, or any judgments that you place on yourself even. So yeah, it's just, I think, a matter of practicing that on a daily basis.
For the listeners, how can they start using creativity in their life today, just on their own? What's something small that they can do?
So we can go back to doodling.
Yeah.
Doodling is a great way to tap into your creativity. You don't need anything fancy, just a pen or pencil and a scratch piece of paper or your leftover lunch napkin and start doodling and give yourself time. Like, just set aside 20 minutes a day or 10 minutes a day, or while you're eating breakfast or having lunch, just doodle. And you'll find that once you kick over to that other side, to your right brain, you'll find that quiet. You'll know what I'm talking about when it happens, and you won't want to stop.
Yeah,
That's when
cool.
you know for sure you've kicked into the right brain hemisphere, is when you just can't stop and you're relaxed and you're in the present moment, and and everything's good. Life is good. It's easy.
I think I'm gonna go doodle after our interview.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah,
I
cool.
encourage it.
Well, and I know that you have that you draw mandalas. So, can you
Yes.
explain what that is? So, for people that aren't aware of what a mandala is.
If you've never heard of one, I'm sure you've seen them everywhere. Basically, it's a circle symbol that's been used throughout the centuries from hundreds of cultures from around the world. And it, in Sanskrit, it means life
Mm.
or unity. And basically, when we create our mandalas, we start at the very center of our paper or our canvas, and we add lines and shapes and forms and grow our mandala from the inside out. So there's a few different techniques that I use that I share in the program, but basically, again, it's tapping in to that right brain hemisphere and tapping into your creative intuition and allowing yourself to start the practice of creative meditation and using creativity as a vehicle to focus on the things that you want to grow in your life. Yeah, and anyone can do a mandala. It's just like a doodle. Going back to the doodle thing, it's basically just a circle. It's a circle pattern, and what's beautiful is that everyone's, even though we're painting and creating the same thing, everybody's mandala always turns out so uniquely different, and
Mm.
it's just beautiful. I have a link that I shared with Angela if anyone's interested. It's how to draw a
Hmm.
mandala, and it's an introduction to creative meditation. Share
Yep,
that
we'll
link.
put a link on the show notes page. So I want to thank you, Desiree, for joining me today. Thank you for all the great information. I really enjoyed our conversation. So thank you.
Thank you for having me.
And if you'd like to learn more about how to draw a mandala, Desiree has a free mini lesson and introduction to creative meditation at her website. And there's also, like I said, going to be a direct link in today's show notes. So check that out. I think it's going to be a really cool and a lot of fun to do. So thank you everyone for listening to The Awakened Goddess. And until next time, bye everyone.